The morning rush filled the corporate office with a familiar hum, keyboards clacking, phones ringing, polished shoes clicking against the marble floor. Employees in crisp suits hurried to their desks, exchanging brief nods and empty pleasantries. In the midst of this high-powered environment, a man in a faded uniform quietly wiped the glass doors, his old sneakers squeaking against the floor. No one paid him any attention. He was just the janitor. Just another invisible figure in the grand scheme of corporate success. As he bent down to pick up an empty coffee cup someone had carelessly tossed on the floor, a sharp voice cut through the air. "Hey! Watch where you're going, old man." The voice belonged to Victor Langston, a high-ranking executive known for his arrogance and expensive taste. He straightened his designer suit, wrinkling his nose in disgust as he stepped away from the janitor, as if proximity alone was offensive. "Honestly, you people should know your place." A hush fell over the room. Employees froze at their desks, eyes flickering toward the confrontation but too afraid to intervene. The janitor's hands trembled slightly as he lowered his gaze, avoiding Victor's piercing stare. He was used to being looked down upon, but today, the sting felt deeper. Just as Victor turned away with a smirk, another voice rang out, calm but commanding. "That's not how you treat people." All heads turned. Standing near the entrance, wearing a simple black t-shirt and jeans, was Keanu Reeves. The room, once bustling with energy, fell into complete silence. Victor scoffed, rolling his eyes. "Oh, great. The Hollywood hero wants to give me a lesson on manners." He folded his arms, a smug grin playing on his lips. "Tell me, Keanu, do you always lecture strangers, or is this just for show?" Keanu took a step forward, his expression unreadable. "It's not a show. It's called basic human decency." His eyes flickered to the janitor, who still stood frozen, his face burning with humiliation. "You okay, sir?" he asked gently. The janitor hesitated before nodding quickly. "I'm fine, sir." But Keanu could hear the weight behind those words. Victor chuckled, shaking his head. "Decency? Please. He's a janitor. He cleans floors for a living. Why should I pretend he's my equal?" A murmur of discomfort rippled through the office. Even those who often ignored the janitor now felt the sting of Victor's words. But Keanu remained unfazed. "You think money makes you better than him?" His voice was dangerously calm, but there was a quiet intensity beneath it. Victor smirked. "It kind of does." Keanu sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "You know, I've met a lot of wealthy people in my life. The good ones don't feel the need to prove it. But the insecure ones? They step on others just to feel taller." The room tensed. Victor's smirk faltered for just a second before he scoffed. "Spare me the speech. I worked hard to get here. Maybe if he worked harder, he wouldn't be stuck scrubbing toilets." A cold silence filled the room. The janitor's hands curled into fists, but he said nothing. He had learned long ago that fighting back wasn't worth it. Keanu, however, wasn't done. He tilted his head slightly, a glimmer of something dangerous in his eyes. "Tell me, Victor, do you know who used to clean floors before becoming one of the biggest actors in the world?" Victor raised an eyebrow. "Oh, let me guess. You?" Keanu nodded. "Yeah. I was a janitor. I swept floors, cleaned toilets, and took every job I could to survive. And I never once thought it made me less than anyone else." Gasps rippled through the office. Employees who had been silent now looked at Keanu with newfound respect. Victor, on the other hand, looked like he had swallowed something bitter. Keanu turned to the janitor and extended his hand. "What's your name?" The older man hesitated before answering, "George." Keanu smiled warmly. "Well, George, you're doing honest work. And that's something to be proud of." George's eyes glistened with unshed tears. He had spent years being ignored, overlooked, and disrespected. No one had ever acknowledged his worth like this before. Victor, still fuming, crossed his arms. Fine. You're a saint. But let's be real. Janitors don't change the world. Keanu's smile didn't fade. Instead, he gestured toward the employees around them. You think the company runs because of you? No. It runs because of people like George. The ones who clean up your mess, literally and figuratively. He turned to George. How long have you worked here? 22 years, George answered softly. Keanu turned back to Victor. 22 years. He's been here longer than most of the people in this office, and you don't even know his name. A heavy silence hung in the air. Employees exchanged guilty glances. Victor scoffed, but his confidence wavered. This is ridiculous. Keanu shrugged. What's ridiculous is thinking that treating people with respect is optional. The office remained silent as Victor shifted uncomfortably. Keanu could see the cracks forming in his arrogant exterior, but that wasn't the point. This wasn't about humiliating him, it was about changing the way people saw those they often ignored. Keanu turned back to George. Do you know what's funny? Some of the most powerful people I've met in Hollywood, the ones who make millions, run studios, they're the ones who treat the janitors, the assistants, the waiters with the most respect. Victor scoffed. Yeah, right. Keanu smirked. You don't have to believe me. But take a look around. Victor did. And for the first time, he noticed the glares from his coworkers. The whispers. The disappointment. The realization that respect wasn't just a concept, it was something real, and he had failed to show it. George, standing straighter now, looked around at the faces staring at him, not with pity, but with recognition. He wasn't invisible anymore. The cashier at the office cafe, who had witnessed everything, stepped forward and handed George a free coffee. A small gesture, but one filled with meaning. Keanu clapped George on the back. Keep doing what you do, man. George smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile. Thank you. Keanu turned to leave, but before he could step away, Victor spoke again, his voice quieter, less sure. Wait. Keanu stopped, raising an eyebrow. Victor swallowed his pride. Maybe I was out of line. A few chuckles rippled through the office. It wasn't an apology, not yet. But it was a start. Keanu gave him a small nod. You don't have to be perfect, Victor. Just be better. And with that, he walked out, leaving behind an office that would never see janitors the same way again. If you love stories that inspire and remind us of the power of kindness, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss a story like this one.